I just wanted to make this, hopefully it'll be a short video. It depends on how much I ramble on. Um, as you know, I posted, or you may or may not know, I posted a little something, a prose, one of my prose, I guess, or muse, on my thoughts on MAPS, M-A-P-S, Multiverse Advanced Programming System. And, you know, for a long time, most of my life, I've had a lot of questions about all kinds of things. And I've done my best. I mean, I probably wasn't as diligent as I could have been, but excuse me, these things, these questions I had. Excuse me, let me get my vape. Okay. But these questions I've had, you know, if they hadn't been answered, I've usually tenaciously held on to them, you know, until some time that I came across information, or, you know, during spare time thought about it or whatever. And I've been able to get some, for me, in my opinion, for my personal self, some, I've made satisfactory, I feel satisfactory progress in answering these questions. And, you know, with what's happened in my life, just say within this past 3 or 4 weeks or so, you know, there has been a time that I wondered where my next meal was going to come from, you know, years in prior years. And, you know, I made it through that. My faith in, let's say, God per se, or a higher being, or a higher, you know, something larger than myself. And I want to give Cliff High some credit here. He made a video a month or so ago, I guess, and he had gone through and is going through cancer recovery. And he had made a comment on one of the videos, I'm not sure which one it is, but something very important for everyone, and I mean all of us, every one of us, is that we tend to make better progress if we have a belief system or whatever, if we believe that there is something much, you know, something larger than ourselves, something that, you know, if some people want to call it God or Creator or Supreme Being, or along that lines, the universe, you know. The universe is actually a living entity, a being, you know. And just as a side note, you know, we may be some, on a molecular level or DNA level or whatever, of some much larger being than ourselves. So, and a lot of people are, and I used to be agnostic, and I guess I might still be to a certain degree. But I tell you, within the past, like I said, 4 weeks, even though I've been through hard times before, and this was my situation now, I guess I could have tried harder, or made some different decisions, or had made some different choices or whatever, that I wouldn't be in this position now. But I felt, you know, again, to this back to a higher being, or God or whatever, I felt that this was something that I needed to experience. And not only am I, looking or wondering where my next meal will come from or how I will attain that meal, but it's been more than that. And with that, with this, what's the word? Insecurity or lack of assurance or guarantee or whatever you want to call it of what's going to happen in my life from day to day, as far as just surviving, not going hungry and not freezing to death and whatever. I thought I knew myself pretty well before all of this, and going through this, I am learning that there's a lot more of myself that I'm getting to know that I was unaware of myself. And most of that, I mean, I had a pretty good foundation on that, who I was, who I thought I was and who I knew I was, or whatever. But like I said, these past 4 weeks or so, not that I've dwelled on that trying to figure out who I am or anything, but just as events happen and the experiences have happened, I have come to know myself a great deal better than I did, and I feel personally that that's helped me in a lot of ways, and especially spiritually. I've seen people, I've actually experienced a type of, I'll call it love, from people that, and these weren't people that are really close to me or my well, everybody's my family, but I mean, relationship wise, like immediate family or something like that. But I've seen a lot of love, in fact more love, come from these people than I had experienced in my life in the past from immediate family or what have you. So, and that's been very profound for me. And I've come to understand, comprehend, and know, I think, I feel anyway, this higher being, or whatever you may want to label it or call this, God or Creator, Supreme Being, Universe, or whatever. And I've discovered, I guess, a relationship between me and this higher being more intimate than I had ever thought of in these terms before. And when I can understand some of these, and I'm not saying I have I have nowhere near all of the answers or anything like that, to some of these great questions. But this experience has allowed me to have a better comprehension or understanding of what some of these masters have, what they have said, and where exactly they're coming from. And I'm not saying I'm a master either, by any means. I mean, I'm just an average person, just trying to figure shit out, and I have a tenacity about me that if I want to know something or want to figure something out, I usually stay with it in some way or means until I get the answers, or satisfactorily reach a conclusion or explanation or whatever of about what I'm in search of, or questions I'm asking or whatever. But yeah, I can understand where some of these masters and all, with things that I've read that they've said and stuff. I have a better understanding, a better comprehension of that. And it's been a daunting task to get where I am for myself. I'm not saying this would be this. Everybody's different, and everybody's going to have their own experiences and their own way of processing the information or whatever. But I don't discourage it at all. I think that it can consume a lot of your time, a lot of your life, a lot of your thoughts, your actions, and everything when you start reaching the levels where you have that more in-depth, more complete, not complete, but a more, working towards a more complete comprehension and understanding of some of the stuff, the metaphysical, psychological, just mental, and everyday experience kind of stuff. And it's truly amazing, and it has absolutely changed my thoughts, my opinions, and what have you, personally, to an extent that I can hardly describe. But I would encourage people to learn more about themselves. Don't be scared. Be curious. Of course, use your better discernment skills while doing so. It's all part of the process. But please, people, if we want to create a better environment for ourselves and for our futures, and our kids and everybody else, and even strangers, we want to make a better life, a better environment for those people as well. We're going to have to start educating ourselves. We're going to have to start not, stop saying that, oh, that's the way it's always been, that's the way it'll always be, what can we do about it, woe's always me kind of stuff. No, we're going to have to be proactive, and we're going to have to go after this stuff, this information, this knowledge. But again, it's something that you have to experience, I feel. I don't believe that you can just read a book, and sure, you get a lot of good information from books, some books and some authors, but you have to live it, in the process. You have to have those experiences backed up with the knowledge or the information that you've processed in order to advance, to grow your awareness, to expand your consciousness to the levels that you'll be less likely to be fooled or taken advantage of, or whatever, because we know there's a lot of that stuff going on in the world today, and that's what we need to get rid of. We need to figure out some type of way to combat that type of I call it corruption. Plain and simple, it's just corruption of thought, corruption of character, corruption of just on and on. It's corruption, and human beings are very susceptible to corruption. It's very easily, especially when people aren't thinking for themselves, when people aren't critically thinking, when they aren't using discernment. And it's very easy for a person to become victimized. And we shouldn't be don't settle for being victims. We're going to have to take responsibility for ourselves, and we're going to have to take the responsibility to teach other people some of these core values, core processes for discernment and stuff like that. And so I don't want this to drag on and y'all get bored and not listen and watch it or whatever. But I just really wanted to put out there that my experience in the past 3 weeks, whatever, have been absolutely life-changing for me. Probably even more so than the past 40 years. Really. It's just been I don't know, it's like different levels or different plateaus, and it's sort of, you rehash the previous level or the previous plateau, but it's at a different level, or an elevated, a more aware, or more, as somebody put it to me, at a more cognizant level, mental level. So, hey, let's create this place that we can be proud of for our children, that we leave to them, that they will inherit. It's all about the future, really, and as it stands, the way things are now, we're kind of just living in the present, which, yeah, you need to live in the present, but we can't forget about the future, and we can't forget about the past that has already, that we've already lived through, or that our ancestors lived through, or whatever. We can't forget the lessons, and that's something that's not necessarily done all that much today, is to understand and process the information of the past, so that we don't make the same mistakes again. And as it seems we just, we've been on this revolution, this continuous cycles of the same things, a little different, but pretty much they always, the remedies to them have kind of always been kind of the same kind of thing. So let's, throw some evolution in there, so that we don't end up in the exact same place over a period of time. We have progressed. We have gone to the next levels, to the next plateaus, or what have you. And all of humanity and the universe will benefit from this. So, thanks for tuning in and listening. Just make the attempts to take little steps at first. As babies, we have to learn to crawl, we have to learn to roll over, then we have to learn to move and figure out that, hey, we can shuffle around, scoot around on the floor or whatever by crawling. And then, watching our parents or other people or animals or whatever, we see them moving around on legs or whatever, and we discover that, hey, we can stand up. And so, one thing leads to another. We learn to stand, then we learn take a few steps. We learn to walk. We fall on our butt. It scares us probably. It may be a little discomfort when you fall on your butt, or what have you, or bump your head or whatever it is. But then we learn to walk, and we get proficient at walking. And I mean, we're trying to run a lot of times before we even really have a good handle on the walking. But that I think that's a human thing anyway, or anything that's learning something that is, it's natural, but still it has to be learned. So yeah, so, and the same goes with developing your cognizant abilities, your consciousness, expanding your consciousness, raising your awareness of yourself, of your surroundings, of the past, of the future, of the present, all of this stuff. So, just don't forget about it. Don't sit on the couch or drown your confusion with alcohol and all this other stuff that doesn't lead you to an expanded consciousness or a higher awareness. If you're not learning anything through activities like that, then maybe it's not the best possible activity, or the way that you could be spending your time, or maybe it's not as a productive way to spend your time as it could be, doing something else to raise your awareness or expand your consciousness or what have you. So anyway, God bless you all, or whatever this higher entity or being, the universe or what have you, bless us all, and hopefully assist us in attaining the wisdom needed to work in harmony with this higher thing, God, universe, supreme being, creator, whatever, and with ourselves and with other people. We all make mistakes. We're going to continue probably. We're not going to reach perfection anytime real soon. So, but why not? Why don't we just try to make the adventure a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more enjoyable day by day. God bless you all. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.